Welcome back. You're still watching My Story here at Church of Uganda Family TV, and today we are privileged to host Honorable Asamo Hellen Grace, the Minister of State for Disability Affairs here in Uganda. It has been a well-flowing conversation if you really followed, but in case you have just joined us, please stay on because what she's telling us is really, really important. Now, Honorable, I want you to tell us the defining moment when you felt you want to advocate for persons with disabilities.
Yeah, I think before I go there, I want to say that when I was a teacher, as a teacher who had disability, I had first to break the barriers of people's comments about my being what I was. Then there was in 1986, I think in 1990, 91 there, when I just qualified. NUDIP was formed in 1987. So people came around they were looking for disabled people who had been to school, who had been whatever. One of them was my OB. So he said, oh, I think I used to have an OG in Soroti. So he gets me as a teacher and says, we want to get you to come and help people with disabilities. And I asked him, Richard, why me? I am okay. I have a job. I don't need those kind of things. And he said, no, you see, as we advocate, we want people who can talk for people with disabilities. So the first meeting he took me was a meeting in Soroti where we are quarreling. People with disabilities were quarreling over Kaunga. These second-hand clothes they were supposed to have been brought. They were blaming each other in the room. So I told him, Richard, I think this is not my
It's
space.
the wrong place.
I am not. I don't like where people complain and abuse others and quarrel and ABCD. So I went back to my work. So I think after 6 months, again he came back to me. Say, now we have a general assembly. I want you to be elected. Then from there we shall now take you to Nudipu General Assembly because we have to get you from the ground.
Okay.
So I went to that General Assembly. I was elected as a vice chair. So after that, we come to the General Assembly of Nudipu in 1992. Arrive here, get very many disabled people whom I'd never seen so many collected in one place. I was shocked. I was like, oh. So when I get there, he tells me, I want you to come to the board. But this is me who is going to a board to remove a fellow tribesmate who is Mteso. So I asked him now, how now do we play this politics? He said, no, no, no. This person has been quiet, doesn't talk, doesn't for the last 3 years. I said, okay, I'll try my level best to get in. Thank God I was elected to represent Eastern Region on that board. And when I was in that board, I found myself becoming the Secretary General. And I did that for 3 terms, and most of them were unopposed. I want to think again, God guided me that I was doing good work for people. So when I was in that Nudipo, I moved on and I formed an association called National Union of Women with Disabilities. Because as I sat there, you'd realize men are very many in the meeting. The women with disabilities would never appear. So the gender issues were beginning to get into me. So I was like, but where are the women? They said even if they come, they don't talk. So the teacher in me made me to be loud. So I said, okay, for me, if I can be allowed. So they said, no, okay, we can form you a wing, a committee of women. But when you went asked for a budget, they said, what do you want women want to discuss? What do you want to discuss? So I said, so why did you form the committee if you cannot fund it? Because they will fund program committee, they will fund the human resource because they're going to recruit. Now women, what are you going to discuss? So when you tell them issues of reproductive health rights, issues, they say, no, those ones, the hospitals can do it. So it took a war that I had now to struggle to ensure that I formed a fully pledged association within Nudipu to form now the National Union of Women with Disabilities. And again, God plays his role. I become the chairperson of that association in 1999, which I held up to 2011 when I left to come where? To Parliament. So I built my course there. But I also need to tell you that it has also not been easy. Challenges have been around. I will give you a challenging point where sometimes I felt, as I talked, I didn't tell you where some of my I had a brother who was older than me, who I followed him. And this brother of mine used to almost, when I became a teacher, to take care of a lot of things. He brings me soap, cooking oil, what, everything, clothes. So this brother of mine died in 1991. And I felt the world had ended. That's the time even my mother would ask me, "You are not eating, you are not what?" Because I was too close to that brother of mine. But then after that, out of, I'll call it jealousy of that school where I was teaching, people just planned to begin putting blackmailing. So I'm transferred to another school. Good enough when I went to that school. Remember, I'm getting out of a school of a diocese of Soroti where the bishop was taking care of us like kids. He's going to give you kawunga, Bishop Iluko will give you oil, he'll give you everything. So now you're getting to renting. And here you have not been renting. So that's the time I really felt life was hard. And I said, this is a shock. How am I going to manage to rent? How am I going to manage to feed the children on this little salary of mine?
Is this the time you felt like giving up?
I was thinking of giving up. But when I went to this other school called Nakatonya, I told God, you who brought me and put me in that place, and you're the very person who has taken me to this school, I know that you will take care. And that is the time my brain opened into business. I would get my salary, I must use it for something to reproduce money. For example, the school children were already a market. If I boiled cassava, I made kabalagala, I would take it to the school. At break time, these children eat, I will get money. I come back in the evening with my money. So I will be in that cycle. And when I made these things, I started enlarging my capacity of making what? Kabalagala and boiling my cassava. And then, when people are harvesting, I'll use my salary to stock millet, stock sorghum, and stock even cassava. So when there's hunger, people buy at me at a double or a triple price. So my brain now moved into expanding whatever little money that came into my hand into other business challenges. I think from there I learned the world, and I never minded what you say about me as far as I know I'm in the correct area. So that is the worst challenging point I think I had at that point. After that, it really made me grow and you know that challenges are part of life, but we shall always overcome them. As far as you have trust in God, it all goes away.
In relation to that kind of challenge, what are some of the big lessons you learned as a person living with a disability?
Yeah, as a person living with a disability, first of all, I realized that I am a human being like anybody. I mean, there's nothing that changes me from others. Because if I'm a human being like anybody, God made us and He said, in His image. I believe that is like me. So for me as a Christian, and the Bible tells me, I made you out of my image, I believe that is what it is. And I also believe that if I look at the story of the people in the Bible who became great men, they didn't come from anywhere. David was a shepherd. Even his own father said, that one is not the one when they were coming to anoint him. But later he became the king. You get it. You get people like Joseph. His brothers even sold him. But Joseph became a big prime minister. He was able again to receive this family into that. So for me, my belief is that whether I came from a very low background, I think mine was a bit of middle there. At least my mother was working. I would get some things, but I don't think she had anybody who knew her as a big nurse there. So I really came from nowhere to somewhere, like Archbishop likes saying, from nothing to something. So for me, my story tells me that where there is hope and where you have a belief, something will happen and it will change, and it's not a miracle. I will also tell you when I came into parliament in 2011, I went in for election. I didn't have money because people were saying it is money related. I only had my money for nomination, and I went and sat in that hall. When I was in the hall, somebody went, I think, and told the presiding officer, don't nominate her because she has been working with Nudipo. But it's only government institutions that you have to leave the job 3 months prior, not an NGO. But this man was working on me. the presiding officer, and says, where are your papers? And then he starts telling me I don't even have papers. I've not been cleared by the National Council of Higher Education and ABCD. Then the commissioner enters, the current commissioner in NIRA, and he tells, what are you looking for? Asking the presiding officer. This is the commissioner of Electoral Commission. I looked at the commissioner, I looked at the presiding officer, because I didn't know what he was looking for, but I realized he must have eaten some money from the one who was the owner of the seat. Then he says, no, she doesn't have paper. This one said, but I can see here a degree of Chambogo what? University. And I said, sir, even what is looking for, I have it. The one of the National Council, I also got it. Because I was appointed by the Minister of Education to represent the Disabled National Council of Education. So I had all access to whatever papers I wanted as far as education was concerned. So this man got shocked. Then he puts the papers. Then the next thing he tells me, this picture, photo of yours is too small. We needed the postcard. And I'm giving you 10 minutes. Now you can imagine from the electoral college to run to look for a photo and come back with postcard. Thank God, one of the incumbents also did not have a photo. So again, God made me to enter the room first. I told Honorable, I will start, then you come after. So I wanted to see how he fires the other one and doesn't fire me. So again, to me, again, it was a miracle. I was nominated. So we are there. When it came to election, I went unopposed. The incumbents were crying. And the man asked me, how much money did you use? That the same presiding officer. And I looked at him, money? But me, I was voted and I went unopposed. I ended up crying. I couldn't believe that there was too much support in the room. Because they all went and said, all the disabled with their crutches, whatever, went in and said, fail her when we are seeing. This is the one we want. And I said, God, thank you.
When does the calling for ministry start?
I'm coming. 2011, 2016. 2016, 2021. I go for nomination. This time they changed the nomination, the Electoral Commission. When I entered for the nomination, I was told there was another candidate coming. And I told them, you know me, I'm going to Brussels for a presentation for disabled people under the European Union. They said, okay, fine, you can nominate you and then you go. So I knew I was coming for what? For election. So when I got nominated, people were like, yeah, you see, the honorable, somebody's coming. I said, there's no problem. This is space for all of us. It is you, the voters, to make a choice who will be your what? Your leader. So I go to Brussels. After 2 days of nominations, we are closed. Then Dr. Mona, the current PPS, calls me. Now disability, because that's how he calls me. Disability, where are you? You look to be out of the car. He said, yeah, I am in Brussels. And he said, oh, congratulations. And he said, of what? You know, you have gone unopposed. Second round of going what? Unopposed. And I said, oh God, thank you. So I came from there. The man I would have used for campaign, I made a party. And I gave my voters eat, drink, and we enjoy. So when it came to 16, 20, 21, I mean the recent one, that one, some people say now this time let's change the voting pattern. So they brought one box for the people who want to stand with men, one box, and then for the women. So there were two people who stood for the women. So they had their separate ballot box, and then we had ours, and we're 14. So you know, in that kind of box, your name will come like this, it drops, it comes until you have reached a certain mark. Then you can go on. People went to Ginger and were doing all lots of things, but for me, I told people, I am not coming until Electoral Commission tells me as a candidate to enter there. So when I entered the Electoral Commission grounds, some people came to me and said, hey, Honorable, you know, people have been giving something. I said, which something? As far as I know, Electoral Commission is in charge. Yes, I know we can share, but I'm not sharing with anybody, even a bottle of water when we're here, because I'm also taking the water of Electoral Commission. Electoral Commission will pay your transport. Electoral Commission will accommodate you. So what more do you want me to add? But the choice of voting is yours. You either vote me if you vote for money, then you vote for money. But if you vote for me, in terms of working for you, you will vote for me. And people were like, I think she's just joking. And I went around like that. I sat down. After, I was the highest in that thing. After some people had stayed for so many days, so I was again the winner. And then I came here.
You didn't use money.
I didn't use money. I don't use money at the. But if I meet you, I'll give you money because I am meeting you. But the day of the period of election, I will not give you money because I know the government system is already helping me. Is paying your transport. Why would I again add you something when electoral commission is going to pay your transport, take you back home? So what am I paying? I must give you money when I know what is it for. Because if I call you, I know I'm going to give the transport because this is not the activity of what? Electoral commission. But where the electoral commission is taking charge, let them handle it. So, coming to leadership, in the leadership of politics, I came in 2011. In 2012 there, so I didn't even apply for committee leadership of parliament. So somebody just told me, you know, when we were in the SEC meeting, the president proposed your name and says he put. I said, oh, how can the president propose my name because I'm not even used to the president? How does he pick me? And then I asked one member who told me that. He told us that you know good English. So me, I laughed. So when they came, they told me my name had been put for a committee on equal opportunities leadership. So I said, okay, let me wait and see. So I worked for the 2.5 years. And you know, in the first year, I was like, you know, it's not good for you to come and show your head. I didn't want to show people I was a leader. But again, I think God chooses that this leader will have to continue showing to be a leader. So I was, when the people were applying, I said, I can't apply in my first term. I will apply if I come back in second term. But when I came in this term, I was given that leadership. Then now when I came back in 2016 to 20, I was fully on leadership for the 5 years. So when I came this time, I had no dreams of being what? A minister. I had even told myself that this time I don't know what I will be because I have really come to represent people with what? Disabilities. And I told God, I have come to work for people with what? Disabilities. So when time came, I was at home and the list pops from the TV. When the list comes, my children tell me, Mommy, oh, Mzee has given you. I said, given what? They said, the minister. I said, okay, tell me who are on the list. So when they said the Jessica Lupo, the current vice president, the right honorable prime minister, I said, so I asked them, they are historicals. They told me, this list looks to be having more women. Then I told them, relax, that's not our list. This is another fake list. So don't get excited. It's not time for any celebration. So this is me who relaxes. I was not even concerned. I didn't even call anybody to ask whether it was a true list because I never expected it. And I want really to thank His Excellency for identifying me among many, 500 and something to become a minister in his government. So after that, I said, I think after 4 days or 5. So the right honorable speaker, Honorable Anita Mon, calls me. Where is your CV? Your documents? And I'm like, which documents? In fact, I asked her like a sister. I was speaking in our language. I said, which documents? I said, hey, I have your name here. You're supposed to send in your CV and appear for what? Interview. She said, I asked her, myself, is it true? She said, I have the list. The moment it comes to the speaker's desk, it means this is the what? The list. So I sent the what? The CV. So later, I still was not, I think to myself that I'm a minister. And I didn't like the cameras, your cameras. I said, no, I'm not going to go to parliament. So I called the speaker. I said, Madam, since it's COVID time, can I be interviewed at home? I can put myself on Zoom and do the interview. She accepted. I said, good. I have done it. Because you see, as you go for interview, the cameras are following you everywhere. They want to ask you lots of questions and ABCD. So I said, no, I'll do my interview at home. So I did the interview at home. So, and of course, when you do interview, you don't get the results immediately. The speaker only writes today, His Excellency the President, and then it's the President now to tell the Cabinet Secretary to invite you for swearing in. So that period again is quiet. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not very good at following things like postering and asking, now, Speaker, what's happening? No, I kept quiet. So the day I think I'd even switched off my phone. I was resting at home. So one of my colleagues who had also been appointed, oh, they're looking for you to go for COVID test. COVID test for what? I said, oh, swearing in is going to be on. I said, oh. So we're going for swearing in where? Because now COVID time, there was no meetings, there were no what. Say, no, 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 we are supposed to go to Kololo. They are going to take us to Kololo. Mzee will have his tent and ABCD. Ah, so I go for this COVID test with because they said come with 3 people. I took my daughters. When I was there, when I held that Bible to swear, and then I signed the thing, then it came to me that I am now a minister. And before even I swore in, remember the 100 shillings, 100,000, was it 100,000? What we were giving people under COVID, I think 100,000 shillings,
100,000.
Shillings for people who are having their challenges of work. So we're summoned to come to this ministry before swearing. Now they said, go and begin planning for the 100,000. I was like, so I come here. The good thing I get my senior minister, I ask a minister, is this how ministers work? No induction, no what? Just so she said, no, this is how government work starts. You are now starting on duty. So we discussed, of course, the 100,000, and then eventually we went in for swearing. So after swearing in, I was then given an official office where we are today. And this office, I have been here for 2 years, again by God's grace. I have no pressure. I have no challenges. I know challenges are there for people I represent, but I always try to explain how we are moving.
Oh, that is the real definition of from grass to grace. Now, Honorable, what is your best treasure? What do you treasure most in life?
In life, I think I should begin from what I hate most.
Okay.
Yeah, what I hate most is lies.
Oh.
I don't want people who are not trusted. When you want to build my confidence and you deceive me, I think that's where I get enemies. I don't have enemies, but the moment you fail my trust, that is the end. I don't like that so much. And then there's what you call as my treasure. One, I am a straight person. I will tell you to your eyes, good or bad. And once I've done that, it's out of my heart. If it's a bad thing, I come back to you and I say, I have already told you, but we can continue working. Because I do not want to harbor things which are not good on my side. I want to believe that when you have done something wrong, even when I'm working with my counterparts, I call them and tell them, here, I wasn't happy, you didn't do it well, and ABC, but that gets out of me. So one thing I have is being a straightforward person. The other thing I hate is the corruption, eating on behalf of others. I have passed where there is money. I will tell you, there's a time when I was in Karamoja, there were no banks. I used to carry a lot of money. And my own boss will tell me, just go there, they write for your statement, you come back with the money, and we share. And I would ask him, how would I do this? How does God look at me that I carried 10 million to go and do activities, and then I come back, his plan was like, you can give the policeman 500,000. You also give the person like in the office of the cow something, bring me something, then the balance is yours. And I was like, so one time I told him, I am not going to do it. And he told me, you are going to die poor.
Oh.
Yes, you are going to die poor. And I said, yes, sir. Let me die when I'm poor, but let me use what I have been paid to do the work. If that is not enough, I know my God will what? Provide. So, when that boss of mine told me that, I will tell you, at a certain point, I'm the one who handed him over to Luzira. Because I came back and changed position. I got him in the office. I was now higher and I handed him over to Luzira because he had eaten donors' money, corruption. So there is a big challenge. And it's something that I know Uganda here, they say there's a lot of corruption. But I think there are maybe a few people who still don't believe in that. I don't believe in issues of using the people I'm working for to earn a living. Somebody one time, a preacher said, you can build the mansions, but it might affect your children or your grandchildren or your generation that they will never enjoy it. You might steal money. You build a kalina, but you might not even sleep in it. You will find people renting the cheap ones and you're wondering, what's happening to mine? But because this was wrong money, there's a way God Almighty directs people to where it was correct. So for you wonder, but what happened? Maybe let me go to a witchcraft person and try to do whatever, but it will not work. So my belief and my happiness is that whatever assignment I'm given, I will always make sure that that little money given to me must reach out to the people.
Wow, that is really
Yes, I came here. Government gives me about 16 billion, what we call the National Special Grant for People with Disabilities. When I came here, my team will tell me this is demand driven, demand driven. So you see, the thing is skewed to some places. Some people are getting some good money, then others are not even getting. So I told them, as far as I'm a minister, we are dividing this money by the whole country, the districts. Put an IPS for each district. So each district gets according to their population. So if you are getting 70 million or you are getting 50 million or 60 in your district, it's now the role of the COW and the CDO to make sure that the disabled access this money. And this money supports people. If you are 5, you get 5 million. And it's a grant. So when we get this money, you can do something. I am telling you, the disabled are happy. The local councillors who are disabled are working, they are doing monitoring. I've given them jobs to move around and see whether the money is reaching. Though some of them again also want to eat. The thing is terrible. But for me, what I'm happy that the money has reached every district. Even when my team here says, oh, Mama, we are going to take back some money, I say, no, what is the problem? Recently, they told me, oh, there was a challenge of the team. I said, there is no challenge. Tell me the reason. I went to the president said, remove the teens from people with disability groups. And now our money goes very well. Whereas people in the down there again who are operating, some of them again are saying, but there's nothing we're getting from this. But for me, I believe in serving the people than eating from the people.
That's interesting. Honorable, maybe as we conclude, what do you do aside of office work? What do you do in your leisure time?
Now, in my leisure time, I think I do one. Of course, I am a church goer. I pray. I like where gatherings for Christianity are. But sometimes I also speak to the people. Some people have used me. I will tell you, the Protestant church, the Catholic church. Sometimes I've been called to talk maybe to the women. I have been called to talk to students, how they can change their lifestyle. Nowadays, students are grounded with drugs and all these other things. So I try to put myself in that space. I am also one person who likes guiding people in terms of savings and credit, telling them that please, when you get money, save for the future so that the rainy day will come. There has never been enough money. But whatever money you have, are you remembering to keep something for tomorrow? The challenge we have, some people you'll get to know them today. I think you have received your salary by the way you will be acting. But with me, you'll not know when I've earned money because I remain the same person. I know that when I've got my money, this is going to do this is going to do the other. And I'll tell you where I stay in Seta. All my neighbors, I have about 35 of them. Every week, they meet in my place. That's how I build my social capital. They meet and we do some saving. And this saving of ours goes around between 20 to 200. And at the end of the day, we share this money. And when people have challenges of school fees, we don't feel it because we say we have our money. So people can borrow it. So I try to make myself be a useful person in the community. I have gone to churches. I will tell you, I've opened churches in my village in Serere there. I go and open a church. Even now, I have so many applications inviting me to go to the church functions as a chief guest and be able to guide the Christians. And when I'm talking to people, I don't talk politics. I tell them what they must do. And that's my message always to the people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of church, I understand you love so much for listening to gospel music or even dancing to it sometimes. What is that best song you like listening to all time, or if you can sing it? If you sing
I don't know whether I can sing, but I can hum it. I think one of them is Rock of Ages.
Okay.
That is one of the songs. And then the other song, Count Your Blessings and See What God Has Done. And especially when I'm depressed, I ask myself, but God has brought me all this way. Why would this thing disorganize me? Because there are things in life you look and say, I have a car, I have homes, I have everything. I'm like, but God, did I have this? I didn't have it. Remember, this parent of mine was staying in a government house. So I'm getting out of government houses to owning it myself. So I go back to count my blessings. And I tell people that when you count these blessings, along the way, the depression goes and says, I think, because there is no life even in God. God has never said he's giving you smooth life. Some trials come for purposes to test you. Even Jesus was tempted. So when they come, what is your reaction? And for me, count your blessings is another one. And then I think there's this one of on the rugged cross, where now you one time I'll put on what? A crown. I think for me, those are the ones which give me life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Honorable. This has really been interesting to discuss with you, and of course, sharing to us your life story, where you came from, and all that. Indeed, it is an interesting one. And there, I could only say, count your blessings, name them
One by one.
It has really been interesting, and of course, if you followed, it has been a favor for her since childhood when she was sort of neglected by her father, and then the mother took her on. It has been a blessing one by one. Indeed, you cannot fail to be motivated out there. Thank you so much, Honorable. It has really been a blessing. From us here at Uganda Family TV, we can only pray for blessings, and for someone else there, we hope this has really inspired you. Jonajal Owakabi has been on camera. Brinko as well has been on camera. Luke Majumba Alnaitwa is my name, and I will only request our producer to really help us and play Count Your Blessings one by one.